Alright guys, I hope you guys are all subscribed. Alright, if you aren't, make sure you press the like button, subscribe, and comment something down below, because that way you can enter into our 250 XRP giveaways. But also, because in about 3 hours from now, I'm going to be releasing one of the most important videos for Ripple versus SEC. That lawsuit, we kind of already knew, but just a lot of those things don't add up. And I think quite a lot of important decisions are going to be based upon this lawsuit that we'll talk about. But also, Ripple has a couple of trump cards, or maybe the US government, some other entities in there, might actually intervene. We'll talk about that in the video coming up after this one, though, in about 3 hours. So subscribe so you get notified when that video drops. I think it's an important one. However, it's kind of ironical, like 2 hours after recording that video, a new article popped up here on Cointelegraph talking about this situation. I just find it kind of interesting. But for today, I want to kind of talk about my strategy with XRP, as I thought about something, right? I told you guys it's my birthday right around this time, and I was thinking, should I buy something for my birthday to celebrate for a year work or whatever? Or should I invest more into crypto? And I had a deep thought. I just sat down. I was thinking like masterminding, I don't know. And I thought, okay, let's say worst case scenario. If we were to go really crazy on something, I'd spend $1,000. But that's, again, going completely haywire, since I'm more so willing to spend about this amount right here. All right? I was just thinking, what if I went crazy, I bought something crazy, and I spent $1,000? What could I buy from $1,000 worth that would make me more satisfied than buying some cryptocurrency? And that sparked up a conversation between me and a friend, where I asked him, are you selling your cryptocurrency at these higher points? Like, for example, Bitcoin right now is crazy high in terms of prices, and I wanted to know from him, are you selling at about 28,000, for example, 26, whatever? He said, yes, I am. I'm just grabbing profit everywhere along the way. And it really sparked an interest in me, because I cannot really grasp why, right? I can understand if you want to buy low, sell high, and then buy lower once more. But when you are quite convinced that a run is going to continue on, like for example, we are, that Bitcoin will eventually hit 29K, I find it really scary, in my own opinion, to sell Bitcoin at 28, for example, here now, let's say right now at 27, to buy back cheaper, to then ride all the way up to 29,000. I kind of feel as if you sell right now, you're just kind of out of it and you're not really engaged anymore. Have you guys actually got any crypto, by the way? Quite a lot of people that I talk to here actually don't even own crypto. It's kind of funny, because half of the people that win giveaways, I actually give them their first XRP. It's just a fun little backstory to it. But yeah, I noticed quite a lot of people, they are not even involved with the crypto space either anymore, because they sold and they still watch the news, or because they've either never gotten into it. But if you are in, it kind of feels to me that if you sell it all, you're just kind of disconnected to it, because if the price goes up a little bit or down, you're not involved. You're just waiting for one big fell swoop before you pick up more, right? Or how does that work? Because the only reason I kind of see it working is if you are a very good trader, you know how to kind of perfectly tell the pattern. You sell Bitcoin at 28.4, you buy back right now at 27, you try to trade it till 29, you sell it again, and you go that way around. If you're not a perfect trader, though, that's going to be a freaking headache, because what if you get out right now and all of a sudden we see a pump to $31,000? You're just not involved with that whole $5,000 move, then I guess I should say $4,000 move. That would break my spirit. That would break my heart, because that's 20%. And I mean, 20% of the crypto market is not that much, because Zilliqa just did like 100% in the very shortest amount of time. But still, for Bitcoin, that's a ton, especially if you're not part of it. And I thought about it for a little while. Like, I thought, what would I do? What should I do? And then I noticed, for me, I think the most important thing is just filling out my freaking sheets. And again, guys, this is available for channel members. I am not saying you have to become a channel member. I do not need your $5 if you want to become a channel member. It's not about that. I'm just saying what I'm showing you guys here is available to channel members for free, you know, if you're a channel member. Otherwise, you could just see what I make here. Everything is shown. You could just copy and freaking make it. I don't really care. Do whatever you want. I'm just saying, if you just want it, channel members get it. That was it. So, having said that, yeah, I just kept filling these things in. This is, by the way, not a real thing. I just made this for an example. And whenever I filled it in, I noticed, like, okay, you know, what I want to get, for example, my Bitcoin amount on my own personal sheet, what do I want to get it down from where it is right now? I'm like, no. All right, worst case scenario, because I also put one here, USDC, I actually not the USDC, but I just do US dollars. because I found that interesting. I just made one for myself with just US dollars. And you just give it the value of one in price. You just calculate that extra so you can see the total value of all your money. That's something that I personally like. So, when I thought about that for a little second, I was like, man, do I really want to sell a little bit of that Bitcoin to just give myself more dollars or more euros in this sense? I'm like, well, what is that going to do for me end term? I'm going to have a better total valuation, but I'm going to have less coins. And I was just thinking like, okay, I'm looking at my sheet here. When am I going to buy back in? If I just fill it in properly, which I nowadays do in these sheets, I just put in every single purchase price. Since I'm buying XRP every single day, of course, there's quite a lot of them in there already. And I just try to summarize them every time. Like over longer periods of time, I just either keep putting more and more, or I just bundle, like, for example, all 25 cents together and so forth and so on. So it is at maximum, like, for example, 30 things long. Because after a little while, you've had a certain couple of prices which you bought at a couple of times, depending on, of course, how accurate you want to make it. And whenever I fill that in, I notice, okay, if I were to, for example, sell my XRP at about 30 cents or so, I would have to get back a little bit cheaper than that, right? So, for example, 29.6, something like that. But then I'm thinking, okay, let's say I have $1,000, which we were starting off with. If I sell at 30 cents, I buy back at 29.5. It's a nice little swing, right? How much are you going to get? I don't know, a percent, whatever. What is it really going to do for me then? I'm going to have 1% extra, which is exactly $10. So I have $1,000.10. So the equivalent amount of XRP that I'm getting at that point is how much is going to be 30 XRP that I can swing then. So I can do my best, get myself a huge exposure to risk because I'm not involved with XRP anymore in this period of time. And all I'm getting for the good part is 30 XRP. Whenever I think about it that way, I just think, hey, to me, it's not worth the risk. And you can kind of, try to swing by selling at 30 and buying back at 15. But I personally am quite convinced if I am a crypto bull, I'm like, okay, crypto's going to be the standard. I'm not selling completely. Again, I'm not really against selling, like, for example, 30% of your portfolio to try buy it back. If you can do that, always do it. And so, anyway, if you know how to do all this stuff, please go ahead and do it. It's going to be worth it. But if you don't, I'm talking about. So then I was thinking, okay, what if I were to just buy back in? So, for example, I'm just going to buy at 30 cents, for example, like right now, and I wait for it to get back lower and buy more. So I'm just, of course, getting more exposed to crypto, and my average price, theoretically speaking, is a little bit higher, but I'm going to get the benefit of those lower prices while, again, getting a lower average price, but still being involved. Because that way, you're only exposing yourself to the risk that eventually you'll go doomed and that your average price is slightly higher, but you're not really exposing yourself to the no crypto risk, which I don't personally want to have. And that one, of course, is more so sparked up because, well, people ask me all the time, what are you doing with your coins? Are you buying more? Are you selling it all? When are you buying back? Mostly also because of Coinbase and all these threats right now to XRP. But I can tell you guys with full honesty, I have thought about selling, all right? I've thought about getting out. Why? Because, again, there's so many good opportunities to short, or I'm not really into shorting. I don't like leverage trading, with crypto at least. There's so many good opportunities to sell and buy back cheaper, I kind of find. However, whenever I think about it, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to log it in my brains for fun. It's like 1 out of 3 times that I'm really correct for trying to buy back cheaper, right? I was once correct when Brett Garlinghouse just put up the statement of, hey, we might get sued by the SEC. If I sold back then, which I thought about because I tweeted about it, yeah, could have been a good trade, all right? And that chat for a couple of times. However, the many times I think about it, if I were to do it every single time, I'd lose about, I think, 60% of the time. Because I think this very often. Every time I get another huge high, or every time I get some negative thoughts, I'm like, okay, what if I sell now and buy back cheaper? And if you try to just track that for a couple of times every time you think so, you notice that you're pretty often wrong. And when I notice that for myself, it could be that I'm just an amateur in what I'm doing. Could definitely be so. I do never claim to be a professional in anything anyway. But it could also be because I just find that kind of claiming the top or the bottom is just very, very difficult. And it's just a lot easier to keep buying more at different intervals. And if you really want to, just be happy with the profit you took without the intention to actually get back in cheaper. For example, that friend of mine, he is not like, well, I'm just going to wait for the price to come back lower and buy in. He's just like, I want to take profits to fiat from this crypto because crypto is not like fully accessible to the public, if you know what I mean. Like, you can't really spend it everywhere. You can't really use it for everything. So he doesn't fully commit to crypto. I, on the other hand, am fully committed. I have at least 80% of my money in crypto, maybe 90%, maybe a little bit more even, I don't know. I will keep it that way, and I think that's the way to go for me. But that's because I like the risk. I like risk, guys. Oh, I like risky projects as well. Not too risky where I just know it's gonna be bad, of course. But I like some risk sometimes. And I don't know, crypto just really appeals to me. Where it's like I'm an all or nothing type of guy with crypto. I'm like, if I go broke, there we go. But if I get really, really rich, I don't want to half-ass it, right? I've had a couple of opportunities in my life where it's like, okay, you put some money in, and you have a chance of getting a lot of money back. I'm not talking about a 1 in a trillion lottery type of chance because I don't like those. I'm talking about some good ass odds, right, against some risk on your own. So I take those opportunities very often because I'm like, what if I have to spend $1,000, for example, for let's say a $50,000 return, for example? Would you take that bet? I'm like, yeah, of course I would. If the odds are like one in, let's say, for example, 1 in 5, right? It just depends. I, of course, apply my no, I messed up trying to sound smart. No, math skills. Let's put it the easy way. But in this case here, I would take the. I do not know if the recording has stopped or not because I just clicked my microphone out. So I might have to redo all of this, but whatever, it's about the bigger picture anyway. So I can hopefully retell my speech if everything went wrong here. I'll do this in one take, so I'll see afterwards. I'll just talk through whatever. So yeah, I put everything in these little columns here, just explaining every single piece I bought at. And I personally, again, since I think it's going to continue on, I want to be exposed to crypto. I want to have this risk. I want to stay in there because I think, all right, fiat, we're not really into that space. We're not really liking that too much. I use it primarily for taxes, use it primarily for everything along that side, but really not that much for my investments because we saw I think it was Michael Saylor a little bit earlier explained how the Sharpe ratio, for example, for crypto was a lot better than for US dollars or for fiat. I think about it that way sometimes too. Like your portfolio it's nice to have some US dollars in there, but it's only nice to sell crypto, I think, if you can actually really buy it back cheaper. If I sell some crypto right now and I have, let's say, for example, $5,000 in my bank, what then? I can buy something, but what can I invest in with that little amount of money? Let's say, yeah, if I had $1 billion in crypto, okay, might cash out 100 million, might buy a ton of properties to make sure, you're good forever, for example. Okay. But that's a completely different side. We're not talking about a freaking $1 billion where I can buy so many huge things. We're talking about thousands. So, that's my thought process behind it. That's why I stay in. That's why I'm exposed to the risk all the time. That's why I love it. It's because I think eventually we will get to a certain adoption scale. And our way there is like the profitability margin. If you sell your way through and you don't have a good determined plan to buy back cheaper, yeah, I think that's a wasted opportunity. Because what else am I going to buy with the money that I get out of crypto? The only thing I can get is a little bit more fiat, but that little bit more fiat doesn't compare to the amount of gains I can get for crypto. That, however, is not the same when you're talking about switching over to different altcoins. Completely different equation, I find. If you are thinking about selling your Bitcoin for another altcoin, I can't be the judge because that type of stuff works like a freaking charm if you get lucky. And I'm saying that deliberately because a lot of these projects, they don't really have the fundamentals to gain that day. It's just kind of a news announcement or a specific thing that makes it pump that regards the news. It's not really like fundamentals in the sense that, yeah, this coin has built something so severe, which has built itself out for the last couple of weeks here, and now it's at this point of usage, yada, yada, yada. It is mostly like, okay, so this coin got listed plus 30%. All right, so this coin got listed plus 30%. This coin got this huge partnership plus 40%, and so forward and so on with a lot of these coins, especially the lower you go. All right, the more profit there is with the shortest amount of, the least amount of news. And that's also where the profitability margin lies. But I can never give advice, none of this is financials, but I can never give advice about what altcoins to buy because a lot of them can pump in the span of a couple of hours by 50% or so. It just can happen. And that's also why I'm sometimes so excited about buying more altcoins because I'm like, whoa, with Bitcoin, it's going to be difficult to get 100 times returns, but with some of these altcoins, not going to be that strange. Same for XRP. I think it's going to be a lot easier for them to go times 100 than, of course, for Bitcoin. But yeah, guys, those are just my thoughts. All right, if you're really talking about some price points to which I want to enter at, I just enter every single day. I'm going to repeat that once more. I buy every single day a little chunk. I'm tracking every single day in this little sheet of mine, but then again, my own paper. And after December, I'm like maybe after the first week of January, I'm going to show you guys exactly how that all turned out and if I'm in profit or at a loss after buying every single day for the whole month of December. I'll show you guys, all right? Also, if you're from the US, check out Webull. If you like investing in some crazy things, go check out Unstoppable Domains. I bought 24 of these things, and I recommend you guys to check it out if you want to buy some other stuff. Not financial advice. These things can go wrong. I'm not a financial advisor, yada, yada, yada. What is happening with Bitcoin's insane record run? Guys, I think it's just a start before altcoins run up. But hey, that's just my opinion. That's just a theory.